Beothuk First Nation tribe, Osaana. Here this morning, Chief Carol, Song of Joy Reynolds, reporting live. Our band appendix was emailed to us in 2016. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had emailed the Aboriginal Affairs Carolyn Bennett to assist the Beothuk First Nation tribe of Canada and North America, and we had updated the name back 2 years ago to shorten it to just Beothuk First Nation tribe Osaana. We are treaty people. Our treaty was given to the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, a copy of it. He has it in his email. He's had it all along. To witness it, because it is so racist in Newfoundland, and I operate internationally from Newfoundland and globally, bringing all Beothuk First Nation people in, and all my Beothuk First Nation cousins. So we every year the Beothuk First Nation tribe Osaana, there's a few of us, and we're always invited by other nations, the Cherokee and some others, to participate in the Arts Council, Culture and Arts Council over in the United States. And so we've been filmed live globally in the cultural parades. Every year, cultural parades. And it was a real fun thing to do. Very enjoyable to meet all the different people of different cultures. And then as you would approach the big podium stage, the mayor and the senator, they would be on the loudspeaker with a microphone, and they would introduce each tribe. And when I would enter the podium, they would say, "This is the Beothuk First Nation tribe, Osaana, of Newfoundland, Labrador, and USA," because we have the Beothuk First Nation tribe, Osaana, on both sides of the border, and going through this process of federal recognition, while other nations have been stealing our remains, artifacts, and as you all know, the Chief Missile Joe went after our tribe's remains and broke international and continental law doing this. Although he has not been charged yet, and he got permission from the Governor General to do this. Missile Joe is not the relative of the remains, and of course he always uses the newspapers like CBC News and the Globe and Mail News and any mail source and any media source for propaganda to exterminate us, because he's after everything that belongs to us. Very odd. He'd say, "Oh, there's no Beothuk First Nation tribe," while his own people privately have been text messaging the Beothuk First tribe Osaana for the last 5 years. And we have that evidence, and including his own brother-in-law that married his sister. So Missile Joe has been lying to the world in order to get what he wants. I personally received, and it is documented and filmed, 16 rape and violent threats from a few men out of the Hullabaloo Mikmaq tribe, and it's been reported. I have that. So if any of them get up on Facebook and want to start yelping racism anytime that I say the word Mi'kmaq, I'm ready for you. Because I have it all documented, what you've done to me. And I'm not racist. I have Mi'kmaq friends that hate what they're doing. I have Mi'kmaq friends that are against it. And let me know what's going on. So, that ought to nip that in the bud. So, anyway, I've had many DNA tests done, and in 2017 they destroyed my name and censored me around the world. Dr. Carr, the president of Terra Nova DNA Incorporation, illegally discussed me in the news. He had no signed authorization of release of records from me to discuss a DNA test. He's a doctor. I'm a chaplain. I'm a licensed chaplain. I did hospital calls on people's sick people, sick patients, years ago. Going back 20-something years ago now, doing those things, hospital calls. I was volunteer. I never took a dime. The Beothuk first, and I was going to say, back to the cultural thing, Dr. Carr used the words, oh, there's Beothuk amongst you, but they're culturally extinct. He did that recently, this May 2020, and back in 2007, Dr. Anna Dugan with Chief Missile Joe did the same thing, stating, oh, there's Beothuk amongst you, but they're culturally extinct. The reason why they used the words culturally extinct was to keep the Beothuk First Nation tribe Osaana from receiving their own families' remains of Beothuk DEMASDUIT and Beothuk NONAWSABASETT and any other Beothuk property that belongs to our nation. The Edinburgh, Scotland Museum had a policy that stated you could be Beothuk, but you could not be culturally extinct. So Dr. Anna Dugan, who is a Mi'kmaq band card holder, with the chiefs, Brendan Mitchell of Hullabaloo and the chief of Missile Joe of the Miawpukek, who are all Mi'kmaws, they use their resources. So Dr. Anna Dugan was one of their resources to use of Munn University to state we are culturally extinct, while Missile Joe went after my family's remains of our Beothuk First Nation Osaana. The property belongs to the Beothuk First Nation, not to the Mi'kmaq Nation. So Missile Joe's been breaking international and continental laws, which is a prison sentence and a fine. Being caught with those any kind of Beothuk, things like that, being caught with them, you're supposed to be in prison. So they used their their profession as doctors to back Missile Joe while being Mikmaq in the Mikmaq tribes themselves. They use their profession, their degrees, their college degrees, and their employment to back him and use the Edinburgh, Scotland Museum policy against the Beothuk First Nation to keep us from getting our remains. Because if we would bury, repatriate, intermit those remains, then we would be automatically federally recognized as the Beothuk First Nation tribe Osaana. They knew that. So they had to stop us. They want to stop us. Why? Because they want land. They want my land that I live on. They mapped it out. They've mapped out my land, my house, my grandfather's home, my family's homes. They've mapped it all out. They mapped out my family's graves. That's how disgusting it is. It's high. It's the most disgusting abuses, high abuses, and hate crimes I've ever encountered, besides my husband being murdered innocently by a cop for being an indigenous aboriginal who never did a thing wrong. So I don't usually go live, but I'm going to start telling it as it is. It is illegal for any other nation to receive, any other sovereign nation, sovereign Mikmaq, Halabu, sovereign Mikmaq, Miawpukek, Missile Joe, sovereign Inuit, sovereign Métis, sovereign NUNUVUT, to be involved and receive Beothuk First Nation tribe Osaana property, while our band appendix sits in the hands of the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, office, and Aboriginal Affairs Carolyn Bennett's office, and within Aboriginal Affairs, INAC. It was already in there. It is illegal. It was illegal for the Governor General, Julie Payette, to give them permission and to give the Newfoundland Labrador Premier Ball the go-ahead on any of our property, Beothuk property. They broke the law. When Canada does something like that, allows something like that. Now, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, didn't tell them to do it. The General Governor, Julie Payette, on the Parliament told them. She was new. She didn't even know that our band appendix was in the office. She didn't know. She didn't know that we're treaty people. My treaty is a sealed, signed, witness treaty. It has an international seal up on it. It would have never been sealed if it was not witnessed that the information that I had matched up. All of it matched up. Now in 2018, that INAC form, that band appendix, in Canada it's called a band. In the United States they say tribe. So to both sides that I'm speaking to, and globally, I want you to understand the difference, the term. But the banned appendix that Aboriginal Affairs Minister Carolyn Bennett had emailed to me as an attachment, and we filled out the INAC and the whatever they are, RCMP, or I can't remember what you call them. I'm getting old. But they emailed, when they received that, what they stated, oh, your banned appendix is excellently put together. They emailed that. But they said, we cannot file your ban because Newfoundland is not part of the Indian Act, in other words. The Indian Act 1876, which explains the King James III Treaty rights. Well, by the time the 1820s rolled along, they were calling us, Beothuk, Ososana, extinct when we weren't extinct. Our families went plain clothes and came across the borders. But of course the DNA has been there, right? So we've been international all along. Anyway, what was I going to say? I'm getting old, so I'm having a hard time. It's early in the morning, too, and I'm recording this, so you're seeing me as I am when I wake up. But, anyway, our banned appendix was in there, and that's what they did. So, INAC, Aboriginal Affairs, did not know we're treaty people. We hold a treaty. We've had a treaty. The whole time it's sealed, witnessed. I didn't put that seal on there. This was done at a place, right? A place, this is an international seal put on this thing. This is a big deal. The cover page of that was delivered to the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and I put it up on Facebook so people could understand we're treaty people, and that Aboriginal Affairs violated our rights. They're liable. All of them are liable. It was illegal for the Missile Joe of the Miawpukek and Hullabaloo Chief Brendan Mitchell and the Inuit Chief, NUNUVUT Chief, Métis Chief, and the Premier Ball of Newfoundland. It was illegal. Governor General Julie Piet. It was illegal for them to hold a secret repatriation on our nation, our Beothuk First Nation tribe, Osana, remains of our family, DEMASDUIT and NONAWSABASETT. As for the DNA project that Dr. Carr is carrying out with Missile Joe, you were not authorized to use our family's remains and our tribe's remains. You do not have our authorization. None of them do. They just took what they want. State troopers think a medical condition may have caused the crash. New details overnight in the case of two missing. Understand this. Our banned appendix, when they did that, basically saying we're not part of the Indian Act, right then and there is illegal. You cannot use the Indian Act against a band, even if they were a landless. Hullabaloo is a landless tribe, and their name was filed. They're also collecting the stories of protesters. Whether you like it or not, Newfoundland is Beothuk territory, and always has been. Our DNA is older than the Inuit and the MIKMAW put together. That is scientifically proven. And that's why many, many, many hundreds of years ago, the Mi'kmaq were calling us Beothuk the ancients. Because we're ancient. We're trying, I am putting my tribe, our nation back together while you're trying to exterminate us. In the news, Chief Missile Joe has been using the media to exterminate us while pulling his project. It's a disgrace. And while his own brother-in-laws and families contact me through media and state, I'm sorry that this is being done to you, Chief Carroll. We respect you for what you're doing. It's filmed. So he's been lying to the public. The Beothuk First Nation tribe, Osaana, has a 23-page constitution of laws. We have articles, and we have bylaws, and we have 2 nonprofits trying to raise funds. While defamation was used on us because of Dr. Carr being involved and speaking in the media with Ted Blade without our authorization, discussing DNA records that he never had. I never gave a copy of any DNA of Acumetrics to Dr. Carr, president of Terra Nova. He never had one to discuss it. If I took a test with it, it is a private lab record. It's not family tree DNA. It's not Ancestry. It's not 23. It is a private record that could not be released to anybody. It was never released to CBC News reporters such as Ted Blade. Ted Blade did a radio broadcast on me, and he edited the broadcast so nobody would know what he had asked me. And at the end of that broadcast, which he cut before displaying it to the public, he's a creep. Ted Blade is a creep. I hope he hears it. He stated to me, asked me the question, can I have a copy of your Beothuk DNA? I said, no. He said, well, why not? Yelling at me. I said, he was intimidating me. You know, it's abuse. I said, it's my DNA. I'm not giving you a copy of my DNA. I'm not giving you nothing. So what he did, he says, well, why not? I says, I don't even know you. I'm not giving you my private lab records. They're medical records. So what he did was he took the radio broadcast, he cut it out so it would sound different to the public, and the public would not know the truth, that he did not have permission. And then he went to the Acumetrics, and whether that Acumetrics DNA company tested correctly or not, I'm still Beothuk. I'm the great-granddaughter of the Longnon family. The Longnon family is DEMASDUIT. DEMASDUIT is Longnon. Of the Longnon family, my family. And that is why, when our secretary, Ann, emailed Dr. Carr, president of Terra Nova DNA Incorporation in St. John's, Newfoundland, which he didn't know it was us because he would have never replied because he works for Missile Joe of the Miawpukek Mikmaq, covering him instead of the real Beothuk First Nation tribe, making money off of it, making money off of us, off of our DNA, off of our family, off of our tribe. and using the words culturally extinct against us, because it is the Edinburgh, Scotland Museum policy that says, oh, you can be Beothuk, but you can't be culturally extinct. Well, that's been misproven. And for him to use the words culturally extinct, we let him know you're now liable. To call somebody culturally extinct is racism. Aboriginal Affairs saw that. They stated to me, that's racism. Because all nations have evolved. Those were their words. And it's illegal. It's called racism. And it's being used against us. To keep us. They're using their professions to keep us from receiving our property. It's illegal. It's not permissible in Canada or the USA. It's illegal. The Edinburgh, Scotland Museum policy is illegal. It's considered racism. It's racist. Can you imagine? The Hullabaloo Mi'kmaq couldn't speak a lick split of the Mi'kmaq language, and in 2016 they had to hire a Mi'kmaq teacher from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, to come and start teaching them the Mi'kmaq language, because they only knew English. They couldn't speak it. I know that because one of the chiefs on the council that didn't know I was the chief of the Beothuk First Nation was having regular conversations to me in his council. He's been calling me a liar, but I have it all in the messages, the Facebook Messenger of him messaging me, and that was Chief Benoit, Chief Jason Benoit, back in 2016. Didn't know that I was the chief of the Beothuk First Nation Osana. He didn't know that. And I just let him talk. He was telling me all the council business and everything, trying to impress me, and it was very mean. It wasn't very nice what he was doing to his own people, because I don't agree with what was done to the Hullabaloo Mi'kmaq, even though they've done things to me. I don't agree with treating people wrong, and doing evil to anyone. And it's just a disgrace that they did that to, there's 80,000 Mi'kmaq band card holders that they denied. They used them. They charged them $20 a piece for a band card, and all those people were rejected. And they created a set of bylaws that kept people from being able to be part of the tribe if they were so many kilometers or whatever from their where they reside as a nation. But where they're residing on is they're residing on Beothuk property, because the federal government had told them that years ago, over 10 years ago. They told them, look, we'll recognize you, federally recognize you as a tribe, a band, a nation, but the land that you're on belongs to the Beothuk First Nation people, and they will return. Well, we were already there. We've been abused for years. So one woman that told me, she goes, they spit in her face, they punched her in the face and gave her a black eye, called her names, ugly names, because they knew she was Beothuk. This is the stuff that's been going on for years and years, and nobody did nothing about it. I decided to stand up and do something about it. My intention was never to hurt the Hullabaloo Mi'kmaq people or the Miawpukek, but they turned around. And, as a matter of fact, many years ago, I had offered I wanted to bless them and give them a gift, and instead they turned around and did what they're doing to us now. See, and that's really sad. It's really sad, because my gift that I was going to give them was not small. It was a big gift. And that was a piece of land. So when my tribe became federally recognized, I was going to let them have land so that they would be okay too. Because I was not here to hurt people. But instead they turned around and did all this ugly, ugly stuff. And they don't like a woman chief. They were on Facebook going, there shouldn't be a woman chief. That's not part of our thing. What is it, Algonquian? Well, let me tell you something. The Beothuk First Nation DNA is not Algonquian. We're not Algonquians. It was couple of hundred years ago, there were Europeans that had written that it is possible that the Beothuk people are Algonquians. They never said that we were Algonquians because we're not. Our language is not an Algonquian language. There may be one word in there that's similar, quace, the moon, which is in many languages. Many indigenous, Aboriginal, and Native American people have that same word going back thousands of years ago, right? So, but that doesn't mean that we're Algonquian. We're not the Algonquian at all. And our DNA is so old. The MIKMAW are like babies. And the Inuit are like babies in age compared to us. But they've been rewriting history and making their own history. They're desperate. They want something that doesn't belong to them. But I'm not here to hurt people. But they're taking advantage. I think everybody needs to go and be where they're supposed to be, where they're originally supposed to be. And I mean, we're not going to be cast into the sea. They're trying to like push us off of our own property that we own. They're trying to steal my own, Missile Joe's trying to steal my darn family's grave over at Red Indian Lake. And we're going to talk about that now. Missile Joe, and we've got evidence of it, so I'm not slandering nobody. I'm telling you the truth. Missile Joe, of his family, they've been taking documents, and when they get them, they put their name on it, because they get the grandfather Copeland. And when they get a document that sounds similar to them, they put their name on it, and then make up this lie that states, oh, our name is the same name as that, when it's not. Now, the Cope family is not the Kopp family. The Cope family is not the Kaplan family. They're all different names, and they come from different lineages. They're not the same names, and they come from different people. The name Kaplan